Hello friends, welcome to Sci-Philic Academy. The chapter of discussion is atomic structure. This is lecture number 5. In this session we are going to discuss about Rutherford's atomic model. Prior to proposition of this model, Rutherford has the result of his teacher, his mentor Sir J.J. Thomson's atomic model, and he performed the experiment on the basis of this knowledge. Sir J.J. Thomson has proposed a wonderful model, but he was not having any experimental evidence for such kind of plum pudding or watermelon arrangement of atom. Sir J.J. Thomson has proposed atom is like this. It is the sphere of positive charge and negatively charged electrons are embedded in this so as to make atom electrically neutral. So this was the key feature of Thomson's atomic model, or this was the main successful point in the structure of Sir J.J. Thomson's atomic model. Was it explained electrical neutrality of atom wonderfully, whereas this arrangement of positively charged atom and negatively charged electrons was not explained by Sir J.J. Thomson with experimental proof. No experimental proof for this kind of arrangement. So his student, Sir J.J. Thomson's student Rutherford, was curious about this arrangement, and more of he was inclined towards planetary model. He and some Japanese scientists were not agree with J.J. Thomson's plum pudding model. Several experimental results were not consistent with this model. Therefore, Rutherford performed this alpha particle scattering experiment to know detailed arrangement of electrons and positive charge inside the atom. So this was the experimental setup made by Geiger and Marsden under the guidance of Sir Rutherford. We must remember this experiment was performed by Rutherford and his students Geiger and Marsden. The key components of this experimental setup are lead box. This is the lead box, and this is the fluorescent screen of zinc sulfide coating. This is the gold foil, and this lead box has this source of radioactive material. Friends, I would like to add few things why he has chosen particular things in his experimental setup. He has chosen this gold foil. Friends, gold is the most malleable material, hence it can be drawn into thinner and thinner sheets, so that when we bombard the alpha particles, it has to pass through very less number of atoms due to its very thin foil. It was around 100 nanometer. The thickness of gold foil which was used for experiment was around 100 nanometer, and mass number of gold is very high. It is heavy metal. So when alpha particle gets bombarded on this gold foil, it gets considerable amount of resistance, and this may get scattered. Otherwise, if we take any lighter metal, this alpha particle will just pass away, it will not get scattered, this scattering will not be effective. That due to these two reasons, higher mass of gold, atomic mass, and its malleability, he has chosen gold foil and not any other foil like aluminium. And friends, this gold foil was covered by a circular fluorescent screen of zinc sulfide to detect the alpha particles scattered from this gold foil, and he used this lead box to insert the source, because this radioactive material will emit alpha particles in all random directions, and if this happened, that is emission in all random directions, it will become difficult to analyze the result of the experiment. You will not realize which alpha particle is scattered and which was from the source directly bombarded this fluorescent screen. So he used this lead box. If we observe the cross sectional area of this lead box, it was like this. Let's say this is the, just second friends, the cross sectional area of lead box was like this. In this chamber, in this tunnel like structure, this was cut by these edges, and in this tunnel the radioactive substance was placed so as to have alpha particles in one direction, and lead box will absorb the randomly emitted alpha particles. So main role of lead is to absorb alpha particles randomly emitted, so as to have unproblematic experimental observation. Otherwise, it will be difficult to observe the scattered alpha particles. This lead box will absorb all the alpha particles which are not supposed to come out of the box. So this was the setup, friends. Now we will see what expected result he was anticipating while performing the alpha particle experiment. For that we will go back to previous slide. As per, because he was having this much knowledge that from Thomson's model, atom is a positively charged sphere in which electrons are embedded like seeds of watermelon, and atom is like the reddish part of that watermelon. Since the positive charge was not uniformly since the positive charge was uniformly distributed, since the positive charge was uniformly distributed, alpha particles would directly pass through the atom with or without deviation. The deviation could not be much. That was his speculation, because this type of scattering he was expected. Why? Because this positive charge was not concentrated. As per Thomson's theory, this positive charge was not concentrated at any particular point. It was distributed. Any distributed energy will not be that strong, friends. All of you know. Concentrated energy will be much stronger. Since the charge is distributed, it could not resist the alpha particles much. And what are alpha particles? Alpha particle is doubly positively charged helium nucleus. Nucleus was not the term coined at that time. Today we know that it is doubly charged helium. What is alpha particle? With 2 protons and 2 neutrons, and without electrons. 2 electrons removed from helium atom, we get alpha particles. So this was his speculation or expectation prior to conducting the experiment. So now we will see what were the results he observed. Friends, when alpha particles bombarded on the gold foil, he found majority of the alpha particles passed the gold foil without any deflection, and very few deflected with small angles, and rarely, very few deflected with more than 90-degree angle. And this deflection with more than 90-degree angle was little bit crazy for Sir Rutherford, because it was not consistent with Thomson's atomic model. So we have categorized the scattered alpha particles in 3 categories, A, B, C. A was the category of the alpha particles passed through the gold foil undeflected. B was the category of deflected alpha particles with small angles, and C was the category with deflection of 180 degree. Friends, to his surprise, he found 1 out of 20,000 alpha particles deflected by 180 degree, that is, they just bounced back. So this was the surprising result for Sir Rutherford. Most of the alpha particles passed through the gold foil undeflected. Most of the alpha particles were of the A category, that is, most of the alpha particles passed this gold foil undeflected, and small fraction of alpha particles deflected by small angles, let us say 1 degree, 5 degrees, 10 degrees. This was the B category, but the majority of the category was of A type. After this result, surprisingly, Sir Rutherford had said this result was almost as incredible as if you fire a 15-inch shell at a piece of tissue paper and it comes back and hits you. Friends, this 180-degree deflection he never expected. So these 3 results made Rutherford to have some different conclusions, and he strengthened his planetary model of atomic structure. Friends, so these were the postulates made by Sir Rutherford. Since the majority of the alpha particles passed through the atom of gold or through the gold foil directly without any scattering, he concluded that positive charge should not be uniformly distributed, that has to be concentrated at a particular point, because of which he observed 180-degree deflection of alpha particles. So, he postulated that the positive charge and most of the mass, positive charge and most of the mass of atom was concentrated, was densely concentrated at some particular point in atom, densely concentrated, and he coined the term nucleus. That's what we say. Rutherford established the proton in nucleus. Nucleus, he coined the term nucleus and said the small area of atom called nucleus occupies the positive charge. Small area of atom occupies positive charge, and he called it as nucleus. Friends, he calculated how this nucleus will be in its size. So, he compared, if we consider a ball, tennis ball or any rubber ball, and if a playground with 5 kilometer radius, so atom will be that playground with 5 kilometer radius, and that small ball will be like nucleus. The difference between these two radii is about 10 raised to 5 meters. That is, atom is almost 1 lakh times bigger than its nucleus. He concluded this from the alpha particles, majority of the alpha particles scattered or passed through the gold foil directly. From this he concluded that majority of the space in atom is empty, because of which this alpha particles directly passed, and the gold foils which were bombarded near the nucleus were deflected, and the alpha particles which were bombarded exactly on the nucleus, they bounced back with 180-degree, and because of which he concluded that positive charge is not uniformly distributed, whereas it was concentrated at particular point, and that central point of positive charge he termed it as nucleus, and size of nucleus is almost 1 lakh times smaller than size of atom. Again, next postulate which he proposed was the nucleus is surrounded by electrons that move around the the nucleus is surrounded by electrons revolving around it. Friends, if we consider electrons are not revolving and stationary, then they will get attracted towards each other, and this will be like Thomson's model. This will be like Thomson's model, and atom will not be stable. Atom will not be stable. So second postulate he made was the nucleus is surrounded by electrons that move around the nucleus with high speed in circular paths, and he called this circular path as orbits. He called these circular paths as orbits. So if we observe this model, this is analogous to our planetary model. That's why this is also called as planetary model of Rutherford. In our planet, what is happening? Sun is centrally placed and other planets are revolving around this sun. This sun is analogous to nucleus, and all other planets are like electrons revolving around this. And this nucleus and the revolving electrons, there must be some force to keep them in these positions. So that force is, as we know, that force is electrostatic force of attraction. That was the third postulate he made. The electrostatic force of attraction maintain these electrons in particular orbits. So these were the postulates and observations made by Rutherford. However, this theory also has drawbacks, which we will see in the next video. Okay, thank you friends.